Hello, everybody, and welcome to this new webinar on sustainable nutraceuticals. Okay, so we will have a guest today. Oh, hello.
Hi, Paolo. Nice to
Hi.
see you again. I met you in Milano last October,
Yes,
November. That's
wonderful.
fine.
Luana
Thank you.
Barbagli,
That's right.
representing Lapi Gelatine. As you can see also from the background, it's one of our certified company in collagen, and she will tell you more after my presentation. So without further ado, I will start sharing my screen. Today's webinar is about sustainable nutraceuticals, health, innovation, and environmental responsibility. Next webinar will be on the 22nd of May at 4 p.m. Central Europe time, and it will be a Friend of the Sea webinar titled True Sustainability or Greenwash, Unveiling the Importance of Genuine Practices in Seafood. Our story dates back in the early 90s with my involvement in the Dolphin Safe Tuna program. I soon realized that certifications could be a very important tool to achieve tangible conservation results. So in 2008, we launched Friend of the Sea, initially focused on certification of seafood from sustainable fisheries and aquaculture, and then expanding into certifying other products which respect the marine environment. 10 years later, we launched the Friend of the Earth, initially certifying products from sustainable agriculture and farming, and now into sustainable fashion, sports, and many others, and also nutraceutical products. In 2022, we created the World Sustainability Foundation, and 2023, we opened our first Sustainable Friends concept store in Milan. Currently, over 5,000 products from more than 1,500 companies in 90 countries carry the Friend of the Sea and Friend of the Earth certification logos. Friend of the Sea and Friend of the Earth represent also conservation projects managed by our foundation in over 40 countries. These are Friend of the Sea and Friend of the Earth conservation programs on the global map. Some of the projects are developed and managed by WSO and the foundation, while others have been selected and certified based on their tangible conservation achievements. Friend of the Sea is the only sustainability certification of products from the sea which can potentially certify with the same logo products from fisheries with these requirements and products from aquaculture. In recent years, the WSO has developed and launched new certification standards which reward with the Friend of the Sea logo other products and services respecting the marine environment. Among them, also nutraceutical products, in particular omega-3 and collagen, as well as seaweeds. But let's dive now into our webinar on sustainable nutraceuticals. Nutraceuticals are foods or components of foods that provide health benefits beyond basic nutrition, including the prevention or treatment of disease. The term nutraceutical is a combination of nutrient and pharmaceutical, as they are connected to both nutrition and medicine. Nutraceuticals can be classified based on different criteria into different categories, such as their source, for example, plants, animals, chemical composition, vitamins, minerals, amino acids, and so on, mode of action, antioxidant, digestive aids, and health benefits, heart, bone, brain health. Their market is growing at over 5% per year, and it is expected to reach a market size of 621 billion US dollars. North America is by far the biggest market with over 50% due to a surge in health conscious consumers, rising disposable incomes, and a proactive approach to preventative health. Juana, se puoi per favore, if you can please turn off the microphone. Thank you. Europe represents a mature market for nutraceuticals, characterized by a well-established regulatory framework supporting the adoption of these products. The region experiences increased consumer interest in organic and plant-based functional foods, coupled with the growing elderly population in Europe, driving the demand for dietary supplements targeting age-related health issues. Germany, Italy, France, and the UK are notable markets in Europe. In Asia, countries like China, India, and Japan witness a surge in demand for functional foods, dietary supplements, and herbal-based nutraceuticals due to the cultural inclination and an aging population and strong herbal medicine tradition. And in India, the Ayurveda-based nutraceuticals and government support for the sector's development. Most nutraceuticals are available in capsules and tablets, as you can see, or liquid forms, more rarely in powder or gummies. Based on product, especially vitamins and mineral supplements hold a significant share of the market due to their widespread adoption for many years for health maintenance, preventive health care, and addressing specific nutrient deficiencies. Within the dietary supplements category, the rising adoption of probiotic supplements is prominent, driven by their recognized role in digestive health and overall well-being. Functional foods, particularly cereals, followed by oils and baby foods, also show considerable growth due to increased consumer awareness regarding the health-enhancing properties of these products. Nutraceuticals can originate from various sources. Plant-based, many nutraceuticals are derived from plants, including seaweeds, herbs, fruits, vegetables, and whole grains. Animal-based, some nutraceuticals like probiotics are sourced from animals or their byproducts. This could be land animals as well as marine organisms. Microbial-based probiotics, beneficial bacteria found in fermented foods, are also considered nutraceuticals. Fungi, mushrooms are a reservoir of proteins, dietary fibers, and minerals, and contain various vitamins. Synthetic, some nutraceuticals like vitamins and minerals can be produced through chemical synthesis. They can also be isolated compounds in origin. Nutraceuticals can also include isolated compounds from natural sources, as long as those compounds are also found in foods. An example is resveratrol, a polyphenol found in grapes and other plants. It can be isolated and purified from these plants to be used as a standalone nutraceutical supplement. As you can see, there are many other examples, including EGCG from green tea, curcumin from turmeric, and omega-3 fatty acids. The environmental impact of a nutraceutical supplement depends on the origin of the raw material, on the processing or production method, on its packaging and its distribution, as you can see. It is almost impossible to compare and draw generic conclusions about the impact of the various nutraceutical products. However, several studies have concluded that normally the use of trimmings and bycatch, mostly in the seafood, in the fish processing, but also in vegetables and other productions from farmed animals, for example, when available on the market, will have a lower impact compared to the use of whole animal. This is the case of several omega-3 supplements. There is no need in that case to catch additional or to farm additional fish or marine organisms or animals, and waste is also prevented because these bycatch in the past were sent to landfills. Also, microbial fermentation is considered to be a lower impact production method and good alternative, for example, to chemical synthesis, which can be energy intensive and might, if done in an unsustainable way, lead to pollution. Or natural extraction. Microbial fermentation, available only for certain nutraceutical ingredients, is how some vitamins are produced, as you can see. It would seem that two critical areas on which campaigns against the consumption of nutraceutical supplements have been focusing and are visible on the web are the packaging and the raw material extraction. In particular, there is, of course, criticism on the widespread use of plastic packaging. It would seem that over 70% of supplements packaging is plastic for various reasons, equivalent to 1.8 billion plastic pill bottles, and with not more than 30% of plastic being recycled, for example, in the US and in other countries, and a certain percentage ending up in the ocean. So there are a lot of these campaigns, whether they are well-based scientifically or not. The campaigns are there. There is opposition to the use of plastic, as you very well know. So for those nutraceuticals producers who cannot currently change their plastic packaging, it is possible to offset your plastic input in the environment by supporting projects which take plastic from the environment, such as the Friend of the Sea plastic offset project, plastic neutral project, by cleaning beaches and others for the same, and other wild environments for the same weight amount in a verified, traceable, and certified way. When trimmings and bycatch are not available on the market and microbial fermentation is not possible to produce the specific nutraceutical product, it has to be harvested in nature by means of agriculture or fished or farmed in the ocean. In order to minimize the risk of impact and aim at the sustainable agricultural production, several certifications are in place, which can reassure consumers. These are among those I would recommend, in consideration of the strength of their certification requirements and the fact that some of them are verified by national accreditation bodies or have applied to be endorsed. Latest studies have confirmed that agriculture methods following the requirements of integrated pest management are the most efficient to reduce the overall environmental impact, even for some crops better than organic or bio, and maintain high yields, thus reducing land, water, energy usage. Global Gap and Friend of the Earth standards are among the others, are very similar to those of integrated pest management. Friend of the Earth has certified some nutraceutical products originating from plants such as ashwagandha. As you can see, this is probably the biggest producer worldwide, KSN 66. Sustainable seaweed products, and canola oil from Nutriterra. When looking at the impact of fisheries, we move now to the oceans from the land, from agriculture. When looking at the impact of fisheries extracting raw material for nutraceutical products, it is worth observing what a long list of products derive from marine organisms, as you can see from this slide. From the well-known omega-3 and collagen to chitosan, derived from the shells of crustaceans, spirulina, and astaxanthin from microalgae, carrageenan and fucoidan from seaweeds, squalene from shark liver oil, or plant-based alternatives. Obviously, all these origins could have a potential impact on the marine ecosystem, or could be produced respecting it and in a sustainable way. Friend of the Sea has currently audited and in some cases certified all those categories in blue in this slide so far: omega-3, collagen, chitosan, calcium carbonate, and squalene. Here follow some examples of certified products. Of course, our standards have been developed so that they are applicable also to the other categories that you see here. And we hope that very soon we will expand to these other products. Our growth has been particularly strong in omega-3 industry, where Friend of the Sea certification has become the leading eco-label for sustainability claims. Friend of the Sea is now the leading sustainability for omega-3 supplement sector, with major fisheries, refineries, and producers verified under its standards. Known for reliable audits and consumer-friendly claims, the certification is widely adopted to verify sustainability. Friend of the Sea has also certified collagen, and we will hear from one of our certified companies today. Sustainable seaweeds products, calcium carbonate supplements, which do not impact the coral reef. Let's focus now a bit more on omega-3, which has been the industry which mostly felt the need to rely on a third-party certification to verify its commitment to a sustainable production. Omega-3 can originate in different forms, from walnuts, seeds, algal oil, flaxseed. The sources of animal omega, EPA, and DHA fatty acids include fish and fish oils. Omega-3 fish oil comes mainly from anchovies and sardines, mainly fished in the southern Eastern Pacific, from menhaden, from some krill, but also increasingly from trimmings or bycatch of, for example, tuna, salmon, and cod processing. As you can see, the percentage of these bycatch as components of fish oil and fish meal has increased a lot since 2000 to become almost 50% of the total. This is a positive development in view of a more circular economy. The major fish oil producing countries are Peru, Chile, USA, Morocco, with some major refineries and distributors in Europe, USA, Australia, and Asia. Let's have a quick look at the status of the major fish oil fisheries. The Peruvian and Chilean fisheries, after a collapse of the stock in the 70s, have managed to greatly improve their management, and they are currently considered among the best managed worldwide, having adopted science-based quotas and precautionary limits, which have maintained the stocks well within the maximum sustainable yield. The fishing gears do not impact the seabed and have very little bycatch. Companies also have implemented measures to reduce the impact of their plants, implemented social accountability, and promoted the creation of marine protected areas to reduce impact on seabirds. The Menhaden fishery, which is the major fish oil fishery in North America, is not overfished, and its biomass is well within strict precautionary limits. Basically, no bycatch, very selective, no impact on seabed, and catches have been reduced over the years as fishing areas have been also been limited by US laws. The krill fishery can also be considered a sustainable fishery. It is managed by the most recent RFMO, Regional Fisheries Management Organization, which is considered as one of the best ones around, as it has implemented, among the others, an ecosystem-based management, precautionary principles, 50% target observers on board. Only 0.06% of biomass is harvested, and less than 5% of the catch is used for fish oil. Trawler exclusion devices are mandatory. The fishery has no impact on the seabed and no bycatch of marine birds. Over 500 companies from 50 countries worldwide, including 5 krill vessels and 15 krill omega-3 distributors, have omega-3 certified Friend of the Sea, and consequently Friend of the Sea is considered as a leading standard in omega-3 sustainability certification. In conclusion, nutraceuticals from agriculture must have obtained a reliable sustainability certification. Nutraceuticals from fisheries should come from trimmings and bycatch and or be certified sustainable. Most omega-3 fisheries are well managed, selective, and limited long-term ecosystem and have limited long-term ecosystem impact. Plastic packaging can be offset by means of Friend of the Sea plastic offset or other projects. In the end, our World Sustainability Organization can provide a third-party sustainability certification for any nutraceutical origin. And that's all from my side. And I will now pass the microphone to our special guest today from Lapi Gelatine. Luana, we always launch polls in the middle of the webinar so that people can vote and interact. So the question of this poll is, which nutraceutical origin do you believe to be lower impact? Plant, marine organism, fungi and mushrooms, farm animals, microbial fermentation, trimmings and bycatch, or impossible to say. So I will let you know at the end who won. This is more for investigating among our audience also the various opinions. And then a second poll is what generates the highest impact in nutraceutical production? Is it the harvesting of the raw material phase, or is it the processing, or is it the packaging, or is it the distribution? So maybe these products have to fly over to other continents, etc., etc. And at the end, you can also, and I show the poll here, you can also rate the webinar. Maybe you can wait until the end if you have doubts, so that we also allow Luana to speak. Okay, Luana, that's all on my side.
Right.
And feel free to share The screen is...
Okay, then. So this is the first image of a company. This is what I say. It's an iconic image to me because this image, this pixelated logo, it's been here on the territory since 1966. So this is the company, a company which is very well located and very successful, I should say, on the history of the territory. Lapi Gelatine, we believe, is a sustainable company. I work for around, this year is going to be 30 years. And as to say, gelatin is a sticky business. And I will try to explain why it is a sticky. Stickiness or being gluish is one of the technical characteristics of gelatin. But also, to me, gelatin is a sticky business because it's a fascinating world. And when I came over here a long time ago, I absolutely didn't know what gelatin was. And through the years, I started to learn how technically it was. Nowadays, we belong to a large group, which is Lapi Group, where there are companies dealing with other fields of application like tanning and tanneries and chemicals for the tanning industries. And in the group, we also have Giunca Gelatines. So we are two sisters company, Lapi in Italy and Giunca in Spain. We all deal with gelatin for a long, long time. Actually, Giunca Gelatine, it's a family company. It used to be a family-owned company business since 1947, whereas our company has little less experience. It still belongs to the family. We are now the third generation and is still continuously working thanks to the passionate working of the people who are involved in this sticky business. So we have actually been able to acquire a lot of expertise, lots of technical knowledge, because we have had the possibility to come in touch and work with a lot of partners spread all over the world, in the UK, in Europe mainly, in North America, in some countries like Eastern Asia. And nowadays we are 57 people altogether, and the turnover is, I should say, an important turnover. But why is this business so sticky? Because it's an interesting thing. You just think of the raw material, I will explain what it is, and then eventually you see a final product, which is gelatin. I'll just jump back. Which is this gelatin in its primitive form, which is used in food, in pharma, and also in nutraceutical products. And in order to be able to keep going through the years in many countries, we have done important investment in order to enlarge our production with new concentrator, new gelling and drying parts in the plant, and obviously a much larger water waste treatment area, because we need to be sure that the water which is used to the production process is then put into the environment in conditions that are in no way dangerous to the environment. The consumption of water is important, but thanks to the people we have in our laboratory, we know what we do in terms of, let's say, pollution, because we have to talk about pollution as well. But obviously, the waters are constantly controlled by our people, who also control the quality of the semi-finished products, of the raw material, and the finished products. Also, because we are certified with ISO certifications, FSSC certification. We have the EDQ certification for the quality of grade gelatin, and other important religious certification, like 2 different types of kosher, actually 3 different kinds of kosher, the halal certificate, and of course, friend of the sea. So again, gelatin and collagen. These are the products we do. We can say we only have 2 products: gelatin, which is our core business, the business of the company started in 1966, to which collagen was added a bit more recently. How are gelatin and collagen manufactured? We have the raw material coming. We are starting thinking about mentioning now bovine skin and fish skins, which go through a long process of washing, conditioning, extraction through water without adding any chemical products. And then we go to the purification made by using filters, ionic resin exchange, ultrafiltration, and then through a long tunnel for the drying and sterilization. We have the first product, which is this one, gelatine, and then an enzymatic treatment to have collagen peptide. But at the beginning of this long story, we have this raw material, which is bovine skin and fish skins. So we do, just a second, we do have something which otherwise would go to the waste. It's, we can call these skins trimmings, because the skin of the bovine and the skin of the fish, which are conditioned in our production process, are parts of the animals whose meat is for the human consumption that otherwise wouldn't be so, how shall I put it, nobly used, if I can say nobly. I mean, these are not noble materials. These are materials that, if you look at them, they look like waste, but still they come from an animal that have been slaughtered or fished for our consumption, and they are still very much rich in proteins. So this is what we take out of the raw material through this long process in order to have gelatin, which is used for the food industry, for these very popular kind of confectionaries like gummies, marshmallows, and yogurt and dairies in general, and also in the pharmaceutical application for hard and soft capsules. So we can see that from the very beginning, if you think about this skin, which are waste materials, to these two main steps, there is a long process, but at the same time, there is an attention to the environment, because otherwise these part of the animals would go to the waste. So apart from this range of products, I just keep quickly to the collagen peptides overview, because collagen is now very much demanded, is very popular, and it's part of the nutraceutical ingredients that Paolo has mentioned before. Collagen, as we have seen, is part of the gelatin process. So in order to make collagen, we do not draw extra raw material from the environment. We simply use part of the collagen of gelatin, and through a further production step, the treatment that we use with resins, we have another product which is very noble, which is very important for health, because it's rich in protein. It's something which is ready, available for the body. You take a little spoon of collagen and your body absorbs it straight away. And we also have made some studies on the properties of our collagen, and the clinical studies we have made have proved that our collagen is beneficial for the skins. The skins is less dry, is more hydrated from within and richer. So it may be extremely useful for aging skins. And I think about the age of old elderly people, which is usually very dry and very delicate. So through this supplementing, the skin can really find a big beneficial. But at the same time, we have to think about, obviously, be focused on sustainability. And if we go to this important slide, we can actually see how circular economy was already in the DNA of gelatin manufacturing plants, because we start from the waste. We go through the cleaning, the washing. we use part of the water which has been used to wash the skins, to wash the factory, for example. Or if it is suitable, how shall I say, cleaned, it can also be used in some part of the production process. So the use of water is somehow restricted, and the environment can benefit from that. We have also paneled the roof of our factory in order to have a sustainable energy, to have energy from the sun. And if we go through this image clockwise, we can see that the last important part is animal welfare, because when we provision raw material, we take care also that our suppliers perfectly and fully comply with European legislation on the welfare of bovine gelatin, and fish for the fish raw material. We do not make use of fish from the ocean, so we do not deprive the oceans or the seas from extra life. The fish we make use of is the skin of animal which have been farmed in fresh water. So they are, so to say, sustainable resources because they are not wild. Actually, many years ago, one of our main customers wanted to have wild raw material, and we said, well, no. First of all, because wild fish are less controlled than farmed fish, and secondly, because it wouldn't be acceptable to further deprive the sea from extra animals. The fish we make use of are farmed for human consumption. So the fillets we usually find in our supermarkets are fillets most probably that were provisioned from farmed suppliers and the skins would have gone otherwise to the waste. Whereas we buy the skins and we make our gelatin, and from the gelatin, through a further step, our collagen. So I would say that in terms of origin and considering the circularity of the economy, because our bypass product would be a waste, and we use them still to make as much as possible out of them and to get 100% of their contents. We can say that we are circular, and we can say that using this type of raw material, the impact on the environment is somehow contained, so to say. And if we go back to the question, to the issue you raised, if the packaging is sustainable, that's completely another story. As far as raw material, as far as waste treatment, and as far as the use of energy, we are trying to do to give our little contribution in order to make the environment a little bit happier. We joined Friend of the Sea in 2022, and we are happy to share this experience with you and all those companies who are certified as well as we are. And I should say this is the end of my presentation. I only wanted to show this last slide where we say that we are proud to be Friend of the Sea for the reasons that I have just explained. And we are back to the very beginning, the factory where I have been for nearly 30 years now. In this sticky business, which remains for me fascinating because I'm not a technician. So when I see the raw material, I saw the plants, I saw the production, I see the plant production process, I see the analysis in our laboratory made every day by our technician. And when I see the final product, I think that I can be proud of what we try to do in terms of being respectful of the environment. And that's my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Luana.
Thank you.
It was great to hear about your long history in the company, and also the great things that the company is doing to reduce its impact. And
yeah, we are. Yeah, that's right. It's a long journey, but we have to. There are still so many things that needs to be done, but at least in terms of raw material, I am really happy to say that what I see every day under this perspective is important in terms of respect of the environment.
That's great. That's great to hear. Let's see if somebody has some questions. There's one question for you. Which countries are major producers, I suppose, of collagen, of your main product? Do you feel all other producers around the world stick to the same environmental and social protocols as your company?
Well, as far as I know, they should stick to the same type of protocol, because there are national, European, and international laws regulating the health of animals, both bovine and fish. As I said, we buy the skins from farmers. Fish are farmed, so if fish farmers who are mainly located in southern Eastern Asian countries like Vietnam, Malaysia, etc., if they want to sell their skins to Europe, they have to comply with European regulations. So the protocols should be really the same.
So you feel it's quite a well-regulated industry at international level, not only in Italy.
No, I feel it is. It has to be anyway.
And also, you think in terms of social accountability in the factories, etc., are they all at the same level as yours? Or maybe that some products enter the market at the lower cost because maybe they have less stringent legislation, as it happens in other fields, in other industries? Or
well, if in Italy, if we want to import from Vietnam, let's say, fish skin raw material, we need to have a specific veterinary certificate. Without that kind of veterinary certificate, the raw material cannot enter the European territory. On the basis of my personal experience, a veterinarian who works at the customs here at the nearby ports of Livorno or La Spezia, they're extremely strict. So if the health certificate is not issued according to the specific requirements, goods run the risk to be sent back to the country of origin. So I know that in Italy we are strict. I hope the same kind of strict behavior is also applied in other customs of entry in our territory, in the European territory.
Okay, that's very good to hear. So there's a question for me. Why do you think omega-3 industry became so interested in certification compared to other nutraceutical products? Yes, in fact, the omega-3 industry was the first one to have this special interest in verifying their production and hopefully obtain the certification, not only Friend of the Sea, but also other similar certifications. And that was that happened approximately more than 10, I would say 15 years ago. And with the major refineries and distributors in Europe, mainly from Scandinavia, coming over to us and asking us to verify the production in Peru, in Chile, and so on. And I think even though from the graphs that I've shown, it's not a major part, it's maybe 5% of the total nutraceutical industry. In terms of revenue, probably also of production, it was particularly sensible to this issue. I believe that one of the reasons could have been that the main supplier of fish oil is also the major fishery worldwide, the Anta fishery in Peru. And so it was somehow under the microscope, let's say, or the lenses of some campaigns and criticism which had started. Actually, in the past, the fishery collapsed, and also the cod fishery, which produces cod liver oil, collapsed because of bad management mixed with environmental factors, but mainly bad management. And it learned from that. And now it's considered to be one of the best managed fishery worldwide, with very, very strict precautionary limits and so on. So I think the certification contributed in part to this important change, and so it was like a circle, and it was concerned about the potential criticism, and the certification itself led it to apply very strict measures, and now it's a relatively healthy, let's say, fishery. And same can be said, as I explained, also about the menhaden, the krill, etc., etc. And also omega-3 still being a small part of the total nutraceutical industry. It is a fast-growing one which has grown a lot for the reasons I already explained during my presentation in major markets. And each producer needed to be able to tell a story behind the production to differentiate, apart from the quality, but in general, differentiate to the eye of the consumers. Others, maybe the collagen itself coming from trimmings, mostly, as far as I know, and others like from seaweeds or from the exoskeleton of crustaceans, probably didn't feel yet to be the need to have a third-party certification of their environmental engagement. But then things over time in this past decade changed. Thanks also to internet, there is always more transparency. The consumer wants to know more and more about the products, and also the management, like Luana and her team, has become more and more aware and willing to, independently from the consumer's request, willing to make a change, to contribute to lower the impact. And so companies are having basically incorporated these policies and the sustainability approach into their day by day, and it's now natural for them to start the day and try to decrease here and there their environmental impact and be socially accountable. So looking at the future, I really hope that, and that's what's happening, as I explained. We now have audited the first chitosan producer, and also squalene from plant-based, and there's more and more nutraceutical products that are coming to us to be screened, and we will be also restrict our requirements more and more with time as the time becomes mature to do so. And so I think that explains why omega-3 were the first ones, probably. We have a last question, which is how is omega-3 capsules membrane produced? Okay, maybe Luana can help me on this. I know that some of it maybe is from collagen, right? We don't have specific requirements yet for the membrane, because from our first screening of the market, there weren't let's say many alternative options to recommend, etc. But Luana, can you tell us a bit more? I know also that there are some more recent, at least at the experimental level, seaweeds, use of carrageen or things like that.
I can tell you something about the capsules,
yes,
which contain active principles like medicines, or
in general, yes.
In general, we have among our customers important pharmaceutical industry that manufacture capsules, both the hard ones and the soft jellies. Gelatin is one of the main ingredients, along with glycerol, water, and another ingredient I'm not quite sure about, but glycerol, gelatin, water, these are the ingredients. And then there is a special machine. I have seen them, how it works, but it's complicated to explain. I'm not a technician, so it's also difficult to say actually but they prepare this kind of film because, as I said before, gelatin is sticky and it has these characteristics which can be like a film. It becomes like a film, softer or harder, and you can make something which is like a soft capsules through a long pipe onto a mold, and then the two parts of the capsules are coupled together and sealed. If we speak about a soft gel, and while the sealing is done, it's okay. I mean, one part of the half is filled, and then the second part is put on top, and it is filled. Whereas the hard capsules are made by two parts, the lower parts and the little caps on top, with the principle of the nutraceutical ingredients inside. Both capsules and soft gels, once they are ingested, they dissolve, they melt at body temperature with simply a sip of water. That's the main characteristic of why gelatin has become so popular and difficult to replace in the pharmaceutical and nutraceutical industries, because they are easily ingestible and easily dissolved and absorbed by the body. But there are special machines which are able to make the parts of the soft capsules and the two caps of the hard capsules.
Do you feel that most of these capsules are made from animal?
Yeah, and I should say, sorry I interrupted you, I should say 90%.
Yeah.
But nowadays there are also veggie capsules made by seaweeds or other things. They are becoming more and more popular because of there is an increasing market demand. We are not quite sure about their physical characteristics, if they have the same type of resistance in time.
Currently, it would be unfeasible to make it mandatory, right? To use seaweeds or so.
No, it can't be mandatory.
Yeah, I think the best approach also in this case is because there isn't really any evidence, any final evidence to tell us that the vegetable one is lower impact than the one from trimmings, from animal processing, etc., etc. And of course, there are several other factors to be considered. Best thing is that the producer be able to tell the story of the product, if it comes from animal, etc., and have the necessary certifications to show that it comes from trimmings, that it comes, that has the certifications that Lapi Gelatine has, basically.
Yeah.
To reassure consumers. And then, of course, if a consumer is vegan and wishes seaweed, then it will have to look for a product that has that specifics.
Yeah, that's right. But as long as everything is clearly written on the label of the medicine or the nutraceutical product, and then the consumer can have the possibility to make the right choice. And that's an important aspect of our business as well, to make sure that products are clearly labeled.
Great. So before we leave, let me just check the polls. I'll share them the results with those who voted, and apparently, trimming and bycatch and the plants have scored the same. So glad about this, Luana, because basically your product is mostly from trimmings and bycatch, and then
100%.
Yeah. So the others. So at least from the audience, there's a similar perception between trimmings and plants. And I think many people didn't know about trimmings and plants bycatch. Maybe our audience did, but there's many people that don't realize, let's say, exactly this concept. So it's important to bring it out because apparently then people appreciate. And then the second poll, yeah, I was surprised by the result of this one because if you check on internet, very few sites mention distribution as the main impact factor, let's say, for nutraceutical production. And in fact, we didn't talk about it in detail today, but nobody feels that processing is relevant as long as obviously it's done, kind of within ISO 14001 principles. And packaging low vote, and the focus has been more on comparably more on the raw material production that we have described during this meeting. So I think I didn't share the results of this. Here they are. Okay, so I won't go farther because we passed the hour. And Luana, again, I thank you so much for your
Thank you.
Keep on with the great work that you do, that you and Lapi Gelatine do. And
we will.
I thank the audience, everybody that followed the webinar. If those who been until the end, you will receive a certificate of participation. And it's really appreciated, your participation, and feel free to contact us at info@friendofthesea.org or Paolo Bray at friendofthesea.org. And if you have any message also for Luana, I think she has shown the email, or you write to me and I forward to her. Thank you, everybody. You. Have a great rest of the day.
You too. Bye-bye, everybody. Ciao.
Help our planet with this first step. Follow Friend of the Sea and Friend of the Earth across our social media. Like this video and subscribe to our channel. Your follow and subscription helps us spread the sustainability message to everyone. Let's build a better world together as sustainable friends.